The morning our new neighbor rolled into town, Grandpa was out on the porch skinning a rattlesnake like it was just another Tuesday. He had his old chipped mug in one hand, the one that says "World's Okayest Veteran Steam," curling out even though the coffee inside tasted like burnt dirt. I was brushing our three-legged goat Puddin', listening to the cicadas ramp up, when I heard that rumble coming down our gravel lane. Out of nowhere, this pearl-white SUV the size of a yacht shows up, chrome gleaming windows so black you'd think they were hiding gold bricks in the back. Grandpa squinted at it, muttered, "Well, hell, just made a delivery," and didn't pause his skinning. Then out steps the kind of woman, right away has never walked on dirt in her life. Yoga pants tight enough to broadcast her credit score sunglasses like little mirrors, her face pulled back smoother than a church pew. She takes one look at our leaning barn, Puddin's missing leg, the rattler hanging from Grandpa's hand, and gives this smile, plastic, bright, pure HOA. "Wow, rustic," she says like she's practicing for a real estate ad. Grandpa just spits in the dust, low enough for only me to hear. The apocalypse has a parking spot. That was the day we met, Madison Bloomfield, though she stuck out her hand and said, "Karen," like it was her trademarked brand. She handed Grandpa a gift basket, enough cellophane to choke a horse, quinoa chips, soy candles, and a glossy pamphlet about Sunrise Estates, her shiny subdivision creeping up just past our fence. Grandpa took it like she'd handed him a live grenade. "This candle's called Morning Harmony," she said. Grandpa gave it a sniff, grunted, "Smells like fraud and alimony," and she laughed like she wasn't sure if he was joking. She backed away to her SUV, probably realizing she'd crossed into a different country without leaving Texas. "See our land, the Wilcox Ranch has been here 5 generations. Bitterweed County doesn't look like much on a map, just brown dirt and big sky. But every fence post has a story. Folks around here measure life in seasons, not status. Last year, the wildest thing that happened was the pastor's donkey got loose during a wedding and bit the groom's dad. That's how quiet we liked it until Madison moved in, dragging the HOA plague behind her, and quiet just died. At first, it was little things. That very night, we found a letter duct-taped. Yep, taped to our front gate. Sunrise Estates Homeowners Association, all done up in legal script like it came from a fancy law office, not a clump of beige boxes. "To whom it may concern your property, presents an unsightly obstruction to the aesthetic integrity of our community. Immediate removal of a life-size deer sculpture requested." Grandpa read it, scratched his neck with a butter knife, and deadpanned. "They mean Dale." Dale wasn't a sculpture. Dale was Grandpa's taxidermy project from '89. A deer that survived 3 tornadoes, 1 Friar fire, and more Christmas hats than I can count. "They want a war." Grandpa said, half laughing, "Well, we'll give 'em a frontier skirmish." Next morning, Madison threw a soft launch brunch on her lawn, looked like a perfume commercial exploded. Linen tablecloths, imported mimosas, and a crowd of strangers with phones glued to their faces, saying words like manifesting and vibes. They parked their pastel golf carts everywhere, including across our front gate. We were waiting on a feed delivery. The truck sat there idling, blocked by a row of pastel carts. Grandpa stood there, hands on hips, jaw set. I tried to play diplomat, walked up to one brunch lady and asked, "Ma'am, could you move one of those carts?" "Got a truck coming through." She squinted at me, sipped her mimosa. "Oh, is this not a community entrance?" I told her it was our ranch gate. She blinked. "Oh, sorry. Thought it was for horses or something." Then turned right back to her drink. Grandpa stayed quiet. That was when I got nervous. He only goes silent when he's about to build something or blow something up. By sundown, the feed truck gave up. The cows were hungry, chewing the fence posts like protesters. Grandpa disappeared into the shed. Last time that happened, he came out 3 hours later with a scarecrow modeled after his ex-wife, holding a sign that said, "Welcome, Karen." This time was different. About midnight, the shed door creaked open. Grandpa came out dragging a coil of thick silver cattle wire. He tossed me some gloves. "We're doing the Lord's work," he said. Under the pale moon, we wrapped every golf cart on that lawn in wire-tight, surgical grandpa humming old Johnny Cash all the while. By dawn, those carts looked like metal Easter eggs. On one, he twisted the wire to read private parking. I wanted to laugh, but didn't dare. Sunrise. The brunch crowd stumbled out in robes, coffee in hand. The look on their faces like the rapture, only noisier. One lady screamed. Madison came storming out, slippers flapping, phone filming, shouting, "This is harassment." Grandpa sat on the porch, not even glancing up. "This," he said, "is ranch decor." She called the sheriff. Sheriff Dale Hardrove, who'd known us since forever, pulled up, took one look and chuckled. "Technically, that's just creative fencing," Madison sputtered. "Do you know who I am?" Grandpa didn't miss a beat. "Yeah, a trespasser with too much credit." Sheriff shrugged. "You want to press charges?" She opened her mouth, closed it again, stomped away. By lunch, someone's video hit TikTok. Grandpa sipping coffee went viral. Texas Grandpa won, HOA 0. By morning, Grandpa was an online legend, Madison. The internet's new villain. But villains never know when to quit. For 3 days, she paced her porch on the phone, storm cloud face plotting. Then came the flood HOA letters about our aggressive wind chimes, demands to repaint the fence. Grandpa doubled the chimes and added a cowbell the size of a toddler. When the wind blew, it sounded like Metallica in a washing machine. Madison filmed a tearful video titled "Rural Harassment." The internet remixed it into Karen in the Wind. Her meltdown was a meme. Next, she escalated, had landscapers plant a thick hedge right on the property line. Only it mysteriously crept 2 feet onto our land. Grandpa came out in his long johns, looked at the hedge, muttered, "They're creeping in like ivy." He told the crew to stop. They said they just followed orders. 10 minutes later, the cows handled the hedge, chewed, stomped, fertilized. By noon, her green wall was a wilted salad. Nature always wins. Grandpa winked. Madison got bolder, hosted the Sunset Soul Retreat. More golf carts, more chaos. Some influencer tried to pet our bull meatloaf while live streaming got a horn in the rear and 7 million views. Would have been funny, except that's the day we found our sweet photogenic cow Madonna missing. 2 hours later, we found her in Madison's yard, dyed pink flower crown guests taking selfies. Poor cow looked humiliated. I sprinted home. Grandpa grabbed his bolt cutter's rope, a jar of bacon grease. "Grab your boots. We ride at dusk." That night we crept through the hedges, triggered her sprinklers for distraction, untied Madonna, spray-painted Free Madonna on her yoga wall, and left a cow pie in the koi pond for good measure. Sweet victory until we realized come morning we'd rescued the wrong cow. This one didn't moo at word. Some influencer brought a robot cow for a dairy tech demo. Grandpa just stared. "Well, we'll ransom it later." The note we sent said, "Your robot was confused." Internet loved it. Madison accused us of EO terrorism. Her stories got flagged for misinformation. But all that drama, just a cover. I overheard Madison yelling at some guy named Victor about annexation permits. That's when I realized she didn't just hate us, she wanted our land. Grandpa wasn't surprised. Then we hit her where it hurts her plans. That's when he called Beth. Beth rolled up in a red pickup, older than time, smoke puffing, mirrored shades, land assessor badge, and the kind of confidence that scares lawyers. She wasn't just any assessor, she was Grandpa's old flame. I figured that out when she said he'd once proposed with a lasso and a six-pack. Grandpa didn't deny it. Beth got to work digging through plats and records, grinning when she found Madison's koi pond and Zen deck sitting 10 feet inside our land. Grandpa just grinned the slow grin of a man about to swing an axe. Beth filed a violation. By sunset, Madison was outside wailing into her phone, alternating threats and tears. Then Victor showed up, real estate shark shiny suit, all tan, and Teeth offered Grandpa a buyout 7 figures lifetime HOA membership. Grandpa used the contract to light his pipe, and Victor blinked, caught on drone cam, viral by dinner. Texas declines politely. Local news caught wind. Grandpa became a folk hero. Madison's own HOA turned on her. One lady even brought us a bundt cake and whispered, "We didn't sign up for mosquitoes the size of drones." But Madison doesn't surrender, she schemes. She and Victor cooked up one last PR stunt, a wedding celebration, butterfly release media, and a sneaky launch for their next subdivision, Grove Heights, starting by bulldozing our land. Grandpa just said, "Guess we're RSVPing." For a week, the barn became mission control maps charts, Beth and Grandpa plotting. Loud, legal, unforgettable, that was the plan. On the day, blue sky so perfect it was offensive. Butterflies, boxed drones buzzing Madison in a gown bright enough to blind a satellite, Victor smelling like smug. The moment she started her love conquers conflict speech, Beth flipped the switch. Fog billowed from the old well speakers, blared Madison's own Instagram rants. "I'm not yelling, I'm projecting." Fireworks burst, early butterflies everywhere. Rubber chickens slingshotted onto champagne tables, chaos everywhere. Grandpa sounded the air raid siren, guests screamed, dogs barked, drones crashed, and the banner tore loose to reveal Grove Heights as a lie. Beth got it all on camera. By night, it was everywhere. HOA meltdown caught live. Madison's empire crumbled. Victor vanished. The HOA voted her out. She tried again under a new company, planning a wellness retreat. Beth read the fine print, 20-foot walls, sound suppression, privacy, tech. Grandpa carved a wooden spoon shaped like a middle finger. Time to call the cavalry. Cousins, neighbors, even a guy named Juice showed up. We built a freedom fence from hay bales, tractors, and 37 wind chimes. When the wind blew, it sounded like Liberty herself was throwing a tantrum. Madison blasted us back with a sound system so awful it made birds fall out of trees. Beth called the county. Madison threw a smoothie at her car, wrong move. Beth was the judge's ex. 2 days later, Madison's system got shut down for acoustic terrorism. Still, she tried one last time, a peace conference on her lawn press everywhere. Grandpa put on his clean boots, shook her hand for the cameras, and slipped her the carved spoon. Headline, Texas Diplomacy. 3 weeks later, her property was up for sale. No goodbye brunch, just a sign. The koi pond was sludge Buddha, knocked over lawn, chewed to dirt. She vanished as suddenly as she'd arrived. Life slid back to normal. Grandpa fixed the porch step, left one crooked for character. Beth brought muffins. Grandpa started shaving before noon. Madonna, still pink, got famous billboards, county fair ribbons. We laughed more, breathed easier. Then one day a black SUV pulled up. Some streaming exec wanted to buy our story. Grandpa read the contract, handed it back. Real, don't need reenacting. Beth just smiled, that quiet smile that means peace has finally landed. Our new neighbors, a young couple with a kid and 2 Labradors, brought pie, asked if cows ever crossed the line. "You got any HOA ambitions?" Grandpa asked. They laughed. That was enough. That evening, the sun dipped low. Wind chimes sang off key and the air felt light again. Grandpa sat beside me, sipped his mug. "You did good, kid. Held your ground. That's more than most ever do." He stood stretched. "Next time someone parks on our gate, we keep the carts for lawn furniture." He grinned, that old man grin. I laughed, the kind that starts deep, spills out like rain. As the sun set and the chimes clanged, the land just breathed. No hashtags, no headlines, no cars, just peace. Hard-earned, messy, perfect peace. So I gotta ask, if someone like that rolled up at your door, tried to fence you, in silence, what would you do? Would you bend or would you stand? Because sometimes standing your ground isn't about winning, it's about reminding the world some fences just aren't meant to move. And hey, if you got your own war story or just want to sound off about what's right or wrong, drop it in the comments below. Let's see whose fences hold the strongest.